Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs, and I'm here because I am making a mess with my gel plate, and I thought maybe you guys might want to make a mess with me. I was going to clean my hands up a little bit before I did the video, and I decided why they're gonna get a mess anyway. I absolutely love using my gel plate. This is the one I have. I'm going to get a bigger one. I really think I want one that's like probably about as big as my glass mat, just because I'd really like to make like whole pages. Anyway, this is the one I have. I got it on Amazon. They're readily available. This is, what size is this? This is 8 by 10. So I mean, this is a great size to make tags and do all kinds of stuff like that. I just think I would like to do whole pages, and you can use this for a smaller page, but it's not going to make a big enough page anyway. But it's still a lot of fun, and what I'm doing is I am trying to make some background and maybe some pages for my boho gypsy journal, and if you haven't seen that, if you're new, it's, let me get that down, trying not to get things messed up. So oops, here we go. This is, oops, boy, what a mess. Hopefully I have everything cleaned up. Okay, this is the journal, so it's very colorful and eclectic and whatever, and but I do want to put some pages in here that are my creation. Let me put this back up, and not just printed or or plain or whatever, or reproductions and that kind of thing. I like to put some original stuff in there, and this is a great way to do it. I know a lot of people are intimidated by it, but there's really no wrong way to do it. Okay, I'm just saying you can use a lot of different things. You can use whatever color palette that you want. You can make it subtle, you can make it bright, you can do whatever it is you want to do. I've already done some. I'm going to do a few with you, and then I want you to see me do the next part with it. So I'm trying to make this all in one video tonight, so hopefully it is something that you can use. Okay, I am going to be using several different things, and you don't have to use all these things. You can use as little or as much as you want. I am using Distress inks, and I bought these in the little packets that they have, and I think I got them on sale. They were probably at least 50% off, maybe more, because I think I got them when Hobby Lobby was having a sale. So I have a bunch of these different colors, and they work really well. I'm also going to use a few distress oxides. I don't have that many of those, and I really want to buy more. I need to go, honestly, and get a few more colors. I just don't have that many, but they work differently than the distress ink. They're both activated by water, but they have a different kind of look when they're dry, and they work a little bit differently, and I actually like mixing them. It really makes for kind of a cool look. I'm also going to be using some Pearl X, and that's kind of like a powder, mica powder, and this is just a kit that I have. It has a bunch of different colors, and I've had these probably, gosh, at least 15 years, and I barely use them. I'm trying to use them more, and I'm going to use those. The other thing that you can use that I have bought before, and I think I've shown you guys, is these are LA Colors eyeshadow, and these are just mica powder, and these are from the dollar store, and they work great. I use these to make a spray to put on my any kind of mica powder spray. I use it with alcohol ink. You can do it with water too, and these work great too if you can get your hands on them. I haven't seen them there lately, but I don't know. I do know they have sold them before, and they're great to use. They work, I think, just as well. They're not as pigmented, but then sometimes that's kind of good. All right. The other thing that you need is a spray bottle that has a misting, you know, not a blobbing, but kind of a mist. And this is just a bottle I got from the dollar store. I'm going to use that. I have hairspray in, I make this, like I told you, this alcohol ink shimmer spray. This is actually made with this LA Colors and alcohol, which is kind of hard to do now. You could do it with water. But when you make these, you have to put some sort of fixative in there. And I have liquid hairspray in here. I buy the cheap, if you can buy the non-aerosol, and just pour some in there. If you can't do that, you can even spray this in there, but I put some of that in there to keep it from rubbing off. So if you do use the Pearl X, you do have to have something to set it. I'm going to spray this white shimmer, and it has the hairspray in it, so it will set it. But when I don't do that, I will use, this is just cheap hairspray, okay, from the dollar store, maximum hold. The better hold, the better. And what I do is I spray the paper with this when I'm done, and it fixes it. If you don't want to add the agent in there, like you can put glue in it. My only problem is when you put glue in it, I think it kind of clogs up your spray bottle sometimes. So that's why I usually use hairspray. Okay, the other thing I may or may not use, I have distress crayons, and I may use it on some of my papers, and I'll show you how. I wanted to tell you guys something. I bought these online through Amazon quite a while back, and honestly they were not very expensive. These are probably the super cheapy gel crayon, super crayon. And honestly guys, what I'm going to do, I will show you. They work pretty much very similar as the distress crayons for what we're using. So if you want to do something like that, I'm just saying they work very similar. So you could do that. And I don't know, I'm not probably going to use them very much, but I do want to show you how they work with this. I do want to show you something that we did, and I'm going to link the video. We kind of did this similar thing when I made these tags as a background. Okay guys, remember we did all of this and we made backgrounds for these gypsy tags that we're going to be using, and they really can make some really cool backgrounds for tags and whatever you're going to use. But I'm also going to do this because I want people to see how you can use it for pages and things like that, or you know, just for other things that you may want to put in your journal. And I'm going to do mainly stuff for pages, and I may do a few things just for tags. If I have time, I am going to do a couple of gel prints with paint, and I just bought a bunch of paint different colors that I thought would work. And this time, for what I'm doing, these are going to be very bright, whereas the distress inks are going to be more subtle. This is something that's going to have a completely different look, and it won't be as opaque. So I want to show you the difference, okay? If I don't have time, I'll do it in a second video, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and try and get it all in, but if I don't, then there'll be a part 2. You know, it'll just be me continuing, but it's a separate video, okay? So I'm going to put those over here. And they're almost all metallic. And then I got this other one that was on clearance, and it's called Glamour Dust Ultra Fine Glitter. And I thought, hey, what the heck, I might try that too. Okay, so anyway, here's my messy hands. What I'm using is, I am just using, this is the parchment paper that I have, and it's kind of an off-white color. But I like it because it's kind of strong, a little stronger than like copying paper, and it's not as thick as like a artist paper, but it does work pretty well. So I'm going to try that. Oh, there was one other thing I was going to tell you. You can use, and I bought a pack of these, food coloring gel or even a liquid, but I use the gel. You can actually use food coloring on your gel plate too, and I've done that. And if I have time, I will do it in this one. If I don't, then I'll do it in another one. But that's another thing that I used before, and they turn out really good. It's a little bit more concentrated, but it still turns out kind of translucent, and you can use it in conjunction with your ink. And you know what, guys, you can use other inks. You don't have to just use distress inks. You know, if they're water soluble, it will work very similar to the distress ink. The distress oxide, I haven't really found anything that's the same as that, or similar, but if you have, let me know. But anyway, let's go ahead and do a few of these so that we can get this show on the road here. Let me move this out of the way. I will tell you, when you do these, and I'm going to be putting these on my floor, you do need a lot of space to let these dry, okay? So, you know, you kind of have to have some, you know, a table or a floor space or something like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, and I'm going to tell you this, guys, you will never ever really know how these things look until they're completely dry, okay? And I'm only going to do a few of these because I've done these with you before, and I want to show you adding the Pearl X and the shimmer and the other stuff, okay? So I'm going to do a few of the gel prints, and honestly, you kind of have to wait till they're dry to do the second part, okay? So I'm going to use some of the ones I've dried before rather than stop and start, okay? Let's go ahead, and this is just random. I am going to take I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Distress Oxide fossilized amber, and I'm going to put some on my gel plate. And you guys, I am not kidding, you will not believe what happens when you hit water with this. Okay, and I'm just going to spray it with my, oh, I almost used alcohol. Here we go. With my water. I don't know if my sprayer has been acting up. Let me see if I can get it to work again. Do not know what the issue is. Just cannot figure it out. It was working fine, and then all of a sudden, I think it keeps getting air in it. Okay, see that? Isn't that cool? Anyway, you got to put enough water on there to activate it. And I take my paper and I just lay it down. And that's a lot of yellow, guys, but it's going to react with the other colors at some point. So you just kind of rub it on there. So the way to do your gel press is to layer things, okay? So really all I've done at this point is did a big blob of yellow, okay? Now I'm going to set that aside to dry, okay? And then we'll put more layers on top of it. The thing is that yellow is going to react later on. Now what I'm going to do is not waste what's here. I'm going to go ahead and put that on there and just smush it on. And I have a lot over here too, so I might even pick that up with my. And the reason the gel press works good is that the way that it smushes it around on there, it kind of gives it a, like, see that? It gives it interesting patterns. And got a few more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up, and I'm actually going to pick up that color on here just because, you know what? There we go. And I'm picking that up. And anyway, I'm going to let that dry. And I'm telling you guys what'll happen is, did I get all that? Okay. Sometimes when you think you have color there, it's really underneath. So you do need lots of paper towels. I want to show you my paper towel from when I was doing stuff before. And it actually, I'm thinking, well, what can I make out of that, right? Okay. I should just add more color to it. Here we go. This is all underneath. All right. It does make a mess, so be prepared for that. I've got like an old shirt on because I know it will make a huge mess. And I don't wash my gel plate or do anything like that in between because I'm layering colors and I don't care if, you know, if I'm mixing colors. That's kind of the point, okay? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another distress oxide. This one I'm going to use blue. And I'm going to just kind of, I don't think I'm going to put as much this time. All right, and I'm going to, I might go ahead and put the pistachio with that. This is, the other one was Salty Ocean, and this one's cracked pistachio. So I'm going to just put a little of that on there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put some water. You just want to get it wet so you activate it. All right, and then I'm going to put, and I'm going to tell you something on these. Don't ever judge them until they're dry because they just kind of have a mind of their own. They'll just end up being really cool when you thought, I mean, there's some that I thought I was going to put in the trash, and when they got all done, I was like, wow. Okay, so that's just our first layer on there, and so I'm going to put that aside. Oh gosh, I'm trying not to drip the ones on the, and I have done that, and you know, sometimes that turns out pretty cool. So I'm going to take another paper and pick up this color. There we go. Put that on there. All right. Let's see. That's what I'm saying about the pattern that it'll make. And we do have a little bit more up there. I didn't pick up. I don't know why. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and get some of this down here. And some of that over there. I mean, you could do this without a gel brush. You could just do it on your mat. You could do it on whatever, but it does turn out different. See how this is kind of like all smushed together? Well, you don't get this patterning that you do with the gel press, okay? See that is all kind of all smudged together. You get this kind of layering when you use a gel press. That's the difference, okay? Oh, all right, now I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off a little bit. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna start layering. All right, and okay, this is how, let me see if I can find one that's semi-dry. Doesn't have to be all the way dry, but you don't want it soaking wet. It is going to react to water. Every time you spray water on this, it's going to react, okay? So, I'm trying to get all the gunk off of there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some other colors that I think I want to use with this. And this time I'm using Distress ink. This one is Candied Apple. I'm going to put a little bit of that around. Maybe there. And I'm going to also mix in some Abandoned Coral. And I know it seems like they're close together, but the subtle difference will be really, you'll see it. And I don't know. Maybe I'll put, no, you know what? I'm going to put some Carved Pumpkin. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my water, see the little squares, and I am going to hit it, and you can see it's reacting. Now I want to make sure I put enough water in there that I don't have a bunch of squares. Okay, and I'm going to put that there. Now this Distress Oxide, when it gets wet, even after it's dry, it will react, okay? So when I put this on, it's gonna mix with it, and it will react with it. So let me put that on there. All right. Okay. Now that gave us kind of a sunshiny sunburst look. Kind of what I was looking for, and I don't want to waste that, so what I think I'm going to do is I've got another one down here. I'm going to put that on. Now I'm trying to get purposely not anything super, you know, distinct. I'm trying to make it more like a subtle tie-dyed effect. So that's kind of what I'm going for, and I'm going to add several layers. So let me move that aside. Let me move this one aside. Okay, so those two are there. All right, now I'm going to clean this up, because this is not the color I want in my next little experiment here. All right, so the next color I'm going to use, I have my blue. Let me get some water. Bad allergies again today. Okay. I can't remember which one's which. Okay. Now see, this looks a lot different dry than it did wet. And it looks like clouds, doesn't it? Beautiful, kind of. I kind of don't want to mess with that, but oh well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take just some purple, and I'm going to put that around. And I've got this other purple, maybe put a little of that. And then I'm going to add some more blue, and I want something a little bit darker. I didn't tell you what I was using. Wilted violet and seedless preserves. Okay. I don't even know what other colors I have in there. Okay. And I'm just going to add just a little bit more blue. Okay. And there's no blue right there. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to take this. And remember, this water is going to react with the ink. And honestly, guys, you will not know what this looks like until it is completely dry. So I'm going to put that on. Okay. And I'm pressing. There we go. Okay. Now, pulling it off. And so that made this really cool kind of tie-dyed subtle effect. The drips will kind of all go in there. And I'm telling you, you will not know what this is really going to look like until it dries, because the distressed oxide and the distressed ink will kind of merge together. And here, I don't want this to drip on the other one, so I'm going to kind of get some of that up. Okay, so I wanted to have a little stopping point here, and so I could show you what these were like dry. This is what we did together, and they're very subtle because we're going to add more to them, but I didn't want to do too many layers with this, just because I want to get on to the next part of it, because the process is similar to what I did before on my other tags. And I'll go ahead and put that in the description box if you didn't see that. That way you can go back and look at it and see what I did with those. I added more layers of color. Okay, on these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another way to add color. Okay, and what I'm doing, and I did this, I'm going to move that aside here, with, I bought these super crayons, or gel crayons, on Amazon, and these are about, they're not expensive, it's a pretty cheap quality, but honestly, guys, these work pretty good. So anyway, I bought some distress crayons, and I'm going to use these side by side so you can see that they work very similar. Okay, so you know, what you want to use is up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, that top came off of there, so I'm going to take it off. And all I'm going to use these for is to add a little extra color. This one has obviously more color, so I'm going to take, I want to take a different orange, and then maybe I don't know if I want to go that dark of a red. Oh well, we'll live dangerously. I don't think I'm going to use pink. I don't think I'm going to use green. All right. I think that's going to do it. All right, so I'm going to take these, and first I'm going to take the distress crayon. And this is what I was going to try and show you, is that if you want to, you can put more color on, not just with ink, but with this. And I'm putting little squigglies around because these are just going to end up being blobs of color, okay? And maybe I'll put some of this on. Ooh, it's a little darker than I thought it was, but we'll see how it turns out, okay? And then maybe, and I want you to see, I'm mixing the two up, but I want you to see that these kind of work very similar, okay? They react with water just like your other distress inks do. And I'm going to take, where did my brush go? I had a brush. Oh, here it is. Okay. And I've got a little bit of water. And I am just going to take this. Well, that is kind of mixed up. So I think it had some other colors in it. And move my finger around with it. And just take them. And just kind of take the water and move them around. And you can add color and also a design if you want. So that way, you know, you don't have to just use your distress inks. You could use these as well. And just go around and kind of smush them around. You know, I'm not really putting a design in there, but you could put a design and leave it, and then when you put it back on the gel press, what will happen is it'll kind of smear a little bit, and that looks kind of cool too. I'm just doing this to add color. I'm not really trying to add a design. I will show you how to do that in a minute, but anyway, so this is just adding color in spots, and you can kind of blend it around as much as you want. You don't want to overwork. That red's not blending as good as the other colors did, so I don't know how exactly that's going to turn out, but we shall see. The other colors seem to blend a little bit better than it did, so, but that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to just, let's see if I'm going to add, maybe I'll add a little bit more color to that. I don't know what color though. I don't think that those colors really show up enough to where you can tell. Let me try a little bit of green in there. Let me see how that shows up. Yeah, okay. Just to add a little bit more. And now my paper, you know, I have to watch it because it's starting to break down a little bit, but anyway, this just adds a way, this is just another way of adding color, and you can do that instead of the different inks if that's what you want to do, is all I'm trying to show you. Let's see. I don't think I want any more of that green. I don't know. All I'm doing this for, honestly guys, is just to show you that you can add these and mix some color in there. And then what I do after that is I take, you can blend it with your finger too if you want to. You don't need a paintbrush, but there we go. Alright, now that added a little green to this. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this cracked pistachio, and I'm going to add a little bit more of it in there. And then that way it'll kind of blend the green together, I hope. We shall see. Because I'm not really liking it right now. This thing has been nothing but trouble. Let's see if it works now. So I've added the cracked pistachio, and that's the only color I put on there. And I'm going to go ahead and reactivate this. Now remember, whenever you're using the distress inks and the distress oxides, when you get them wet again, you're reactivating them. So we won't know what we have until we're completely done. Okay, so we've added the distress crayons and the other distress, and it did make a different kind of color on there, and it reactivated the yellow. I think what it did is it added a little bit more, let me do that here. If you can see what happens, let me go like that a little bit. The other color, the other crayon, you can't even really see where they are, and it will blend together, and it adds different colors. You know, and you can do it as dark or as much as you want. Now I will show you one thing. Let me put this aside. It's probably not the greatest example, but I gotta find a place for that. If you do one, let's see, I'll find one that you can do that would work well. If you want, let's say for instance on this one, let's say you wanted to make something on here that would show, or you wanted to resist, you could take one of your crayons and put it on here. Let me see. What do I want to put on there? Let's just say, for instance, you wanted to put wavy lines, or, you know, right across here or something. And you want them to stay in there. I am a horrible doodler, so I don't know if I have another color that we could use. All right, so I'm going to use this as an example, and then what's going to happen is if I decide that I want to put a little bit more distress ink on here, okay, and then I'm going to spray that. Okay, I'm going to put that on here. And now this time, remember, I did not smear the crayons first. Okay, now what I'm going to do, when I lift that up, you will see that you can barely see the design, okay? It kind of smushed together a little bit, but it's in there. So you can add designs with your crayons and color and not smush it around, okay? So it's kind of has like a cloud effect to that. So that's something that you may want to do, and it adds color and it adds a design. So you can do all kinds of things on there if you want to do it that way, all right? So I'm going to put that, where am I going to put that one? I'll put that one up here. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to show you with those. And you saw me use both, and they both pretty much react the same. So you decide what you want. I'm just saying, I think it cost me pretty much the same for this pack as it did this big pack. Now I don't know, I haven't used them that long to know how long they last or anything like that. So I mean, I'm not knocking the Tim Holtz Distress crayons. I think they're great, but I'm just saying I've used these and I've got a similar effect from them. Okay, anyway, so let's just put these back real quick. And then what I thought I would do real quick is show you the way that I use the mica powder, because that's really what I'm trying to show you, is a different way to use this stuff. And okay, so where did that go? Okay, where's my dry one? Not dry yet. Okay, so I have some dry ones here, and I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, so on these, what you do, like on this one, has kind of a pink and yellow and kind of hazy effect to it. What I'm going to do is I like to add a shimmer to this. It's very pretty. It depends on, you know, what look you're looking for, but I like this, but I'm going to just kind of bring it up a notch. And I have, these are Pearl X. This is just a kit that I bought. I've probably had it for 15 years. I have no idea they still sell it. But Pearl X comes like this. That's just a brand name, but it's just mica powder. I will tell you that I have bought these mica powders at the dollar store. These are actually eyeshadow. I haven't seen them lately, but you know, they are there a lot, and these work just as well. And I'm going to show you using these, and then I'm going to show you using those, and you can kind of decide. The color is a little bit more concentrated in these, but you know, it just depends on the look you're wanting. Okay, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this to that, and this one I'm going to use the stuff that I got from the dollar store, and I'm just going to take it and flick it on there. I don't know how much I have left in this one. May have to do like this. I don't think there's a lot left in that one. Anyway, I'm just wanting little flecks everywhere. Okay, and this is getting them everywhere like that. And this is just the pink. Okay, and I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to use the purple a little bit. Ooh, that was a big blob. I did not want to do that. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do, let me get this. I have another brush here. I'm going to kind of spread that out a little bit because I don't want a big blob there. Just kind of, if there's any spots I don't want it or have blobs, I'm going to move it around. Okay. So this is going to add kind of a translucent shimmery color and a shimmer at the same time. Now, you can hit that with water and it'll work just fine, but what I use is I have this white shimmer spray that I make, and this is done with alcohol. You know, I just pretty much fill it with alcohol, and this is probably, I use an entire thing of this shimmer, and then I actually use this to make it. When I use a bottle this big, I probably put the whole thing in there. Okay, and I do add liquid hairspray as a binder. I know some people use glue. I don't like glue because I think it clogs up the sprayer. The liquid hairspray works better. If you don't get liquid hairspray, just spray hairspray in it. You don't need a ton. Just, I don't know, a teaspoon is really all you need. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I am going to put this shimmer on top of this. So anyway, so I am going to take this, and you know, by the way, you can make any color you want with this. This stuff will do it. This also does it. This is more concentrated. The color is a lot more concentrated, but it does the same exact thing. Okay, so now this sprayer's not going to work. Oh, please, come on. Let me see if I can get it going. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to take it, and it's already spreading, but I kind of want to just kind of move it around a little bit and kind of mix it in. And I'm just trying to blend it, really, okay, with the other colors in there. And it will be very translucent. And like I said, this stuff is not as pigmented as the Pearl X, but it will work. I will tell you, the Pearl X, I've had it it lasts forever because it is so pigmented, and you don't need a lot. It just takes a little. But anyway, all I did is add a little extra color to it and a little shimmer, and you will not be able to tell how this looks completely until it's completely dry, but that is kind of how it looks. Move that around a little bit. I don't like those dots there. That's why this is a little bit stiffer brush, and that's so that I can get any spots kind of blended. And I'm just kind of smishing it down and blending it. And all that's going to do is just take the shimmer and the color and move it around. I got a bad spot there. Okay. And you can just do it as much as you want. But you'll be able to see this better when it dries. But that's kind of the look you're going to get. It really adds a lot. And when you cut these out, use them for tags or use them in a background or something, it really does look kind of neat. Okay, so I'm going to do another one just to kind of show you. This one, I'm going to use the Pearl X, and let me see what colors I will use on that. Got that. I don't know. I have more. Let me see. I might use, I think I have a different purple, and I might use that. Okay. And these are, you know, I don't know if that's the blue I want to use. That's too close to the purple. Okay. So I'm going to use this purple, and I'm going to use a little bit of the, I don't know if this will work on that. Let me see if I can get it to not go all over the place. Probably if I have a bigger brush it'll work better. Be easier. Okay. Oh, that one's not. I just don't want big blobs. You can, you know, you can kind of work with them and move them around, but it's just easier not to have a big blob to begin with. And I'm putting just a bunch of little drops all over. Okay, so I did that, and now I'm going to do this blue. Let me see if I don't want to contaminate that bottle. All right. Oops. See, now that did do it. Now watch. I'm going to take it and I'm going to just push it over there. All right, just a couple more spots. Okay, that's good. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to use the white shimmer. Let me move that out of the way. And I'm going to, you know, pretty much make sure all the spots are wet and go over the whole thing. Now, if you want to, you can leave the spots like that. I am going to move it around a little bit. And see, you can see the color. It's a little bit more concentrated, and then of course you have a bigger palette than, you know, you're going to have with the eye makeup, but I'm just saying as an alternative. Okay, so that one's not wanting to blend real well. If that happens, just hit it with some more water or the alcohol ink or whatever, and it will blend. It just means it's probably not wet enough. Okay, so I'm doing that, and it's adding more color, and it's adding shimmer, and I'm just going to kind of blend them all in, just so I don't have any drastic spots in there, which you really can't tell anyway because they kind of all blend together. Again, this reactivates the Distress Oxide under there, so that's that one. And so I kind of like that, and it looks real shimmery and really cool, and I think this one looks kind of mermaidy. Okay, but anyway, guys, that's kind of all I do with that, and I hope that you will try it. It's kind of fun. You can take these and do a lot with them. I personally like to use them on tags and things like that. I mean, you could use them in a journal, you know, if you don't mind the back. And a lot of people wouldn't care, but anyway, let me show you the ones that I did already that are dry, because like I said, these things will dry and you'll be surprised they'll change. I did this one, and I put some copper mica powder with some gold, so it has a lot of pinks in it. And then I did this one. It's kind of multicolored, and so that was kind of cool. This one has just really kind of yellows and pinks in there. This one has a lot of purples, and on this one I used one of those crayons, but this was white, and you can, I don't know if you can tell in the background, it acted like a resist. That's kind of what I was going to show you, and it made it, you can see him back there. Okay, so this is one. I don't remember what I used on this one. I think I used just a little bit of purple and probably just purple and blue. I don't think anything else. That's all I used. This one, I think I used just a little bit of the gold, and I think that's all I used on this. I just used gold, and no, I used a little bit of the eyeshadow purple. Okay, and then these are the two that we did. So anyway, that's it, guys. I definitely would try it. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, I will show you the paint part 2, and maybe the food coloring, because it does work also, and it is a lot of fun. Okay, all right, that's it. That's all I got.